Knowledge you can count on continues with Heather Herron and Mark Mellinger.
After 35 years on the air, a local radio legend is saying goodbye. WBCL's Char Binkley is hanging up the microphone after tomorrow's edition of the talk show she co-hosts mid-morning. She has been with that contemporary Christian music station since it first went on the air back in 1976. She started as director of women's programming and eventually became executive director before scaling back. The last few years, she's only been doing the talk show. Char says it was last year when she began to sense it was time to go.
If you were to have asked me last August when I would retire, I would have said never. However, in September, October, I just began to sense that the time was up.
And Char says she's looking forward to spending more time with her husband and grandchildren.
Count On continues with Drew Blair.
After 35 years, a local radio legend has hung up her microphone. Char Binkley's been with WBCL since it first went on air in 1976. Now she says she's ready to spend some time with her family. Fresh into her retirement, Char joins me now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Congratulations first for taking this next step in your life.
Thank you.
How did you first get started with WBCL?
I was teaching at Fort Wayne Bible College when they put the station on the air, and I was walking down the hall, not minding my own business. And I said to the general manager about a month before they went on, "What are you going to do for women locally?" Because in 1976, most of the women were in their homes. And he said, "Well, would you want to give it a shot?" And I said yes. I'd done a lot of teaching, public speaking, and so it was time.
Had you ever thought about radio before?
Never. I never had thought about being in radio until that time, but the very first day, the passion just flourished. I knew I was made for radio.
I can tell you, I've only been in television myself for 5 years, but already my industry has changed so much. I can only imagine how much the radio industry changed in your career.
Well, let me tell you, back in 1976, there were only AM radios in vehicles, and we actually had our listeners come in, and the maintenance people at Fort Wayne Bible College installed converters in their cars and trucks under the dashboard. That's how far back I go.
I'm sure you have so many memories. Do you have any that really stick out?
Oh, the listeners, they're like family. I'll be walking through the grocery store, through the mall, and people will hear me talking, and they'll come over and say, "You're my very best friend." And they're just the joy. They've just been the joy of my life all these years, just to be able to peek into their homes, open the phone lines and talk with them. So many wonderful memories of the listeners, 35 years.
And what an honor that's been, I'm sure. When did you know it was time to retire?
Oh, about the end of September, I began to get these sort of feelings inside that maybe it's time. If you would have asked me in August, I would have said I can never retire. But then that began to grow, and I just knew. And from the time I told my boss, November the 10th, I've never looked back. It was the right thing to do.
So what do you want to do with all your free time now?
Well, I'm going to take a class this summer. I was a teacher before, an elementary teacher. I want to study about the brain and learning disabilities, some of those things. I also, as you know, 3.5 years ago, founded Remedy here in the city. It's an internet station for teenagers heard around the world. I'm on the board of that organization and will be involved there. And who knows, I may even clean out some closets.
Well, she's not going anywhere anytime soon. I know you're going to keep yourself busy, but enjoy yourself, and congratulations on retirement, Char.
Thank you so very much.
We'll be right back.